Hi, we're discussing the 8th commandment of grace. The law insists that we keep working, when grace urges us to rest in Christ. On this Kilimanjaro journey that I've been describing, this point at which we are now, on the crater rim with Uhuru in view, with tired bodies and weepy souls, this principle becomes very real because in a sense you can't stop working, you can't stop walking. Who's going to carry you? You have to put one foot in front of the other. And the principle that is necessary here is to understand where to dig, because at this point you can either concentrate on your breathing, on the way you put down your feet, on the way you carry your body so that you can make it to the end, or you can leave your body behind completely and put your mind and your focus somewhere else. And that is the mindset of a Christian, is the mindset where we put our minds to the things that are above. At that point, I fortunately had wonderful music in my ears, and I listened to that powerful song that says, standing on this mountaintop, seeing just how far we've come. This beautiful, amazing declaration that every step along the way, God has been with us, and it is His ability that has made us able. Whenever you and I face a place in our Christian walk where there is nothing left of us, we are ready to embrace this principle of grace where we rest in Christ. And to learn this is such an abstract thing, to rest in Christ while working really hard, while suffering, while struggling for breath, is a spiritual exercise. And if you and I are brought to that point, it is something we should be grateful for. I remember when we finally reached Uhuru, and it's that moment where you take those pictures with the sign in the back that tells you exactly how high you are. It's your bragging rights, right? When we were at that point, there was no brag left in us, because it was so clear to us at that point that we had not made it that far in our own strength. There is absolutely no way. By that point, we were already resting, and we still had so many hours downhill to cover, going over this gravel and screed, I think is what it's called. But we knew at that point that we were being carried. And because it was such a high altitude and we had been up there so long, our guides were really in a hurry to get us down the mountain. So we had to take our pictures really quickly. And those pictures are not victorious arms in the air pictures, even though they may look like that from the outside. What they really are absolute surrender pictures. The Lord, I cannot, I couldn't, I didn't, you did this. So after those pictures, we were on the rim, looking down, starting to make our way back. And my guide looked at me and he said, you don't have any strength left. You're not going to make it down in time, and we need to get you down quickly because I'm seeing the signs of you having been up in thin air for too long. So he said that he would run me down the mountain. And I thought, how exactly does that work? And he explained that he's going to hook in with me and I need to hook in tightly. And he wants to feel my hip and my shoulder and my elbow. We need to be really tight. And then he's going to not follow the meandering way down, which would take too long. He's going to run straight down. And I, if I could, must just lift my knees a little bit as we go down. And I must close my eyes. This is where it becomes spiritual, because not being able to see where you are going is what we don't want to do. When we love the law, we want the Lord to tell us exactly what to do, and then we want to do it that way. But if the Lord tells us to have blind faith in the ability of God and in His achievement on the cross, in Christ's achievement on the cross, we don't want to cooperate anymore. We say, no. Let me just rather know exactly what comes, and let me see where to put my foot, and let me do it my way. We see it a lot, especially when we're sick, when someone dies, when we don't get that promotion that we counted on. Then suddenly, we don't want to have blind faith. We don't want to trust like a child and let God run us down this mountain, or up the mountain, or through the valley. No, we want a step-by-step guide. So we go and we buy books. that will tell us exactly what the cause is of where we are now and what the plan is to get out of it. We want principles. We forget about the person and what we learned about that. We want principles, rules that we can follow, spiritual laws that will get us out of the situation we are in. We don't want to hear just hook in tightly, close your eyes and run. And I know I may be stepping on toes right now, but it is a sign that we still love the law more than we love grace. When you and I want answers from the Lord, explanations, and surefire ways out of illness, out of death, out of sadness, out of loss. I believe that God brings us all to that place of blind trust where we have to implement the principle of rest in Christ. And what that means to rest in Christ is that we apply everything He has done, everything He has bought for us to our situation. We no longer ask, what should I do? Because that's the voice of the law. What should I do? We now ask, what about Christ and what He has achieved for me do I need to apply to my situation? What do I need to take from what Christ has done? When we don't do that, we get stuck in systems and plans where we are still sure that we are the answer to find a way out of the ditch that we are in, when all along Christ has been the answer. I had a really funny story the other day where children were so well coached in the Sunday school class that Jesus is the answer, that when their teacher gave them a little riddle, the following thing happened. She said, all right, who is this? I'm a little furry, I have a huge tail, I gather nuts and acorns for the winter, I usually live in a hollowed out tree. And a little girl put up her hand and she said, Teacher, I know the answer is Jesus, but it sounds so much like a squirrel. We need to be like this little girl. We need to be so coached to know that whatever the challenge is that comes our way, Jesus is the answer. But we need to know the substance of it. We need to know what it means when Jesus is our answer and our way out. But that also means that sometimes there is no way out of our circumstances for our body. Maybe our body will never overcome the illness. Maybe our family will never get out of the financial strain that we are in now. And we need to be able to rest in that. We need to be able to find that place where we trust that wherever God is taking us now, He will make us able. He will give us grace enough for whatever it is that we need to carry. When Ramadani took me firmly by the arm and elbow and said, all right, now close your eyes, we're running right now. It was that moment of surrender. And it's hard. You still want to open just one eye to see that you don't hit a large rock. But it is so scary to open your eyes when you're being run straight down the mountain over loose stones. It is so scary. And I want to acknowledge that for you to just trust the Lord and just to put those books aside, the self-help ones that's supposed to give you a way forward, is scary. It will be scary. But then there are these moments where Ramadani and I slipped and we did fall and we rolled, but 5 layers of clothing and female padding made sure that I was okay. And in those moments where we fall and lie down, there's almost a relief in it. There's almost rest in just lying there, having fallen, having stumbled, having lost your footing. There's even grace in that. And I remember lying there thinking, oh, I don't even care if Ramadani's on top of me or I'm on top of Ramadani. It's just so wonderful to not have to be on my own 2 feet. Maybe you have been there, where even lying down completely out of plans and out of options is a relief. And it's a relief because your spirit is saying, finally, I'm not doing anything. Finally, I'm dependent completely on the Lord to come and pick me up again. And in every minute like that, Ramadani would come to me and say, Ma'am, you can do this. Let's get up again. And he would pull me up and we would continue. And the ice rain would come from the front and the wind from the side, and there would be no visibility. And I would come to the point where I don't care if I can't see anymore because I've got my guide. And I would just trust him. Hold on to his arm, whether we're running or walking, falling or rolling, walking into the sleet, whatever it was. Because the relief of knowing that we can rest in Christ. And we don't need to work, do it right, find exactly the right answer, even find an understanding for where we are. That relief is huge.